Enable stop incoming video feature. No. Uh-oh. I don't think I should have fucking touched that.
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
Okay, well, I will quickly say.
I'm more worried about the video that gets a couple thousand views. And then,
actually,
you know, it doesn't matter. Focus has got like shadow play on right now. And it's a big red button just out of view. And anytime someone does anything, just
look at all these thousands of people who just suck so hard. Like that's a bad sentence to come out of your mouth. So that's definitely happened to me.
Hey everyone, Matt Lanfear here with Primary and Secondary. Welcome to Modcast.
Don't take this the wrong way. Me and Hop watched that video at the exact same time. We're like, he's in the wrong field.
Sometimes it's bad in a really trivial way, like people advertising for shitty mobile games. Like, has anyone played Raid Shadow Legends? Nobody has ever played Raid Shadow Legends, right? Nobody under the age of 16 probably. Like, it has to be children or something. I don't know where the money's coming from.
I don't really want to call myself that, but functionally, equivalently, it's, you know, you're an industry thought leader, so people trust what you say. So even if it is a it's an ad.
Which kind of thought, Brock?
That's what I was thinking.
What did I say?
You're a thought leader.
You're a thought leader.
Which kind? THOT?
You got all these women following you around.
Yeah. You really fucked up my train of thought. Jesus.
All right. Welcome to Modcast. Today's episode number.
No, I am probably the biggest proponent of their product on the internet right now. But they've cut me, right? Or at least some of them have cut me. So it's an interesting thing to deal with.
Matt Lanfear here with Primary and Secondary. Welcome to Modcast. Today's episode number 396. We're going to be talking about them shills.
Well, the only person I'll call out specifically as a shill is Focus Trip, because he's constantly shilling for this company called Focus Shooting LLC, and I think there's a suspicious like relationship between him and the company Focus Shooting. Nice.
Reddit, put it in the notepad. Put it in the notepad.
He just spilled a whole yoo-hoo on his desk.
Anyways, so I won't be touching my keyboard for the rest of the night. But
oh no, his own mistakes never make it into the compilation.
This is my day-to-day life of being a retard.
It just happens, and just like, oh shit. You can just see it.
Well, yeah, the definition of the word shill is probably pretty loosely applied, because
do we want to do the whole? I don't know how.
Oh wait, we didn't do
the whole intro. And
the Lanfear intro.
So since we do have Trip here, we probably need to do that. Otherwise, I'd be fine with not. But since we do have a special guest, since you two are regulars at this point.
My wife, he is right.
Your wife, what?
Your what?
Your wife?
That was weird. That was weird. We almost said it.
The sexual tension is palpable.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that a little bit, because that's kind of what I was spending most of my day on today, that and a few other oddities. But I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I hope you guys can hear me as well, because my producer is not here. He is busy tending to some farm animals, so he might hop in a little bit later. But for the time being, this might be a solo stream. But let's go ahead and get into some fun stuff that's happening soon, starting out with SDI. Today, we had some more SDI news. I've been talking to a lot of people. If you aren't familiar with it, I should be able to share this post real fast. But essentially, I posted this today to Instagram and to my YouTube community tab as well. Basically, just posing the question, is SDI a scam? Now, I'm not sure if I can blow this up a little bit, but let's see. I might be hard to read there, but Mr. Garantham, Mr. Thumb himself, has dropped SDI. And now this is in the midst of a few other videos going to be dropping on them shortly. So it looks like SDI's time in the limelight of GunTuber sponsor spots is coming to an end, because I am fairly certain that SDI is probably one of the biggest ones right now. And I mean, they've been pushed by all of the big guys for the last several years or so, I would say. Now, on SDI, with that post that I made, if you guys didn't read it or see it, perfectly fine. I asked for people who have used SDI, people who have graduated from SDI, currently attending SDI, and I have asked for them to come on to either a live stream format like this, where we will discuss their own personal experiences with SDI, or to send in a written statement so that we can go over them live on the channel. So that is probably happening, theoretically, probably next week, but I have to coordinate with a bunch of people to make that happen. Now, if you have any experience with Sonoran Desert Institute, that is, of course, SDI, which from what I'm hearing, the more and more I hear about it, the worse and worse it gets. It's essentially a way to farm GI bills while not giving you what it's supposed to do, which is, of course, they tell you it's kind of like a gunsmithing service. But at the end of the day, it's really not. And it could basically be replaced by a few hours of Googling and watching a few YouTube videos, which when you're spending, people have sent me straight up documents on how much they've spent. And it is, $10,000 to $20,000 at times. So this is a serious chunk of change that has been shilled by all of your favorite YouTubers to essentially something that is not a real education in the thing that it's claiming to be. It's essentially a waste of money for a lot of these people. Now, some of that is GI spending, and some of that is actually out of people's pockets. So we're going to be going over that. I do have currently about 10 people scheduled for the live stream, and then I have about as many, maybe not quite as many written statements, not only from people who have used it, people who are currently in it, people who have graduated, but I also have some faculty willing to come on and talk about it. So I think that will be very interesting to kind of get the full gamut of people who have attended SDI in one way, shape, or form. Now, somebody on the thing says, not my name, please vet the people, don't want any weirdos on. So the way StreamYard is set up, it's very easy to kick people. If I ever needed to kick someone, I can only have 10 people on the screen at a time. It'll probably be a little bit longer of a stream so that people can come in, because a lot of these people are working people, obviously, so they can come in and leave at their leisure, probably next Wednesday, though that is not set in stone. So next week is probably the idea. But I have personally, the qualifications for coming on the stream is it needs to be verified with me directly. So for all of these people that I've talked to about either coming on or sending in a written statement, I have personally verified that they have worked or taken classes or even graduated from SDI. So it's not going to be random like some unverified Reddit post. It's going to be people who have actually used the service, been through it, quit, spent their own money, faculty, the entire gambit of SDI users. So that is what is coming up next. Now, if you're not familiar with this stream, this is technically the part 2 of going over some gun industry sponsors. Now, we left off on some big ones. So I'm missing one here. Let me go ahead and can you guys see that on there? You can't see that. Let me put that. Where'd it go? That's the one I want. Why isn't it pulling up now? Oh, I want to add another one on there, but we'll have to probably do that in just a minute. So, going over, there's some super chats. I might as well get to those because I think I'm trying to kill a little bit of time before Gary gets on. Either way, not a big deal. Thank you to everyone that is here showing up for the live. And we will start off with, I think, Americana Pipe Dream in just a moment. Andrew Vachon for $1.99. Thank you very much, sir. I believe he is actually going to be one of the gentlemen coming on next week. I have him tentatively for the live stream portion. He says, hey, everyone, I'm back after missing the last couple lives. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. I think your input on the situation will be quite interesting next week. Brian Isaacs, member for 2 months. Thank you very much. I feel like I was touched in my no-no square, probably in reference to the intro. And you were, without permission too. William Nam says, current or former faculty. So I am not at liberty to disclose who they are. So maybe that will give you some sort of indication. All right. All right. Arizona checking in. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our number 1 spot. But first, let me see if I can get this in here. I'd really like to get that in there. Why is it not happening? All right. If I close this down for a second, is that going to... Let me try something real fast. I hope this doesn't just ruin it for me. Nope, still there. All right. There it is. All right. There we go. Okay. Because I know people were definitely going to be asking about this one. So let me pull that back one. Andrew Vachon for 199 says, that's a polite way of saying I am opinionated. Well, you've actually used the service, so your opinion matters more than most, right? Even if I can like put together 100 different opinions and basically say, yeah, it looks like a scam from the outside, I haven't personally used it like you have. All right. Now, let me pull that back up. Keep in mind that we are a professional show here, for sure. All right, so now we got Americana Pipe Dream, Venture Surplus, Mantis, Ammo Squared, My Patriot Supply. We've already done these ones. Let's get those out of there. For some reason, I have some of these doubled up in here. And then, of course, we'll end on the big one, which is Olight, which I think you're all going to be fairly unsurprised by my opinion on that. Let's go ahead and bump that down right there. All right. Moving on to Americana Pipe Dream. Now, Americana Pipe Dream and Venture Surplus are pretty similar in terms of what they do. I would say Venture Surplus is the more masculine version, and then Americana Pipe Dream is kind of like your weirdo Portland variation of the same thing. So Americana Pipe Dream, let me go ahead and pull them up here. They do a lot of interesting surplus style gear, some very interesting, you know, alpenflage model or their camouflage patterns. They buy all sorts of stuff and import it into the US to sell at pretty decent prices. That's one of the appeals of surplus gear, is that it is pretty inexpensive. So you can get gear that actually works, that is actually high quality, might be a little heavier, might not have all of the features that you possibly want, but it's going to be fairly inexpensive, and it kind of has that aesthetic to it, let's say. Some people really, really love surplus stuff. Again, some of the prices are really good. Some stuff is a little bit more expensive, of course, but it's kind of a surplus brand, right? With a bit of a more stylistic choice towards the silly, let's say. Now, somebody last week was talking about how Venture Surplus was really anti-2A, and I don't necessarily think that they're anti-2A, but they do have a beef with Lucas Botkin, which kind of automatically puts you against, like, say, 20% of the online gun space, let's say. Now, this is kind of like the inverse, because here on r/trans guns, they are backing Americana Pipe Dream, who is clowning on Lucas. So this is like the opposite of based. This is like cringe. So we can kind of see what side, not necessarily they lie on, but some of their fans lie on for sure. Because again, they're beefing with Lucas Botkin just a little bit. So as a product, if you are taking sponsorships from them, I was not able to find anything that was like actually anti-2A. You know, they're just kind of, it's not my thing for sure, but I think it is a perfectly fine product. Interesting stuff. You have Afghan war rugs. You have all sorts of just very eclectic designs in cool camouflage patterns for not a terrible price. So I would say it is perfectly acceptable. I don't think it's anything necessarily special, but I think it is definitely acceptable. Now, kind of the other side of the same coin is going to be Venture Surplus. Now, Venture Surplus, the reason why a lot of people were interested in me talking about it, especially in the context of YouTube sponsors, is the fact that a lot of your favorite YouTubers that are actually like kind of cool people and well respected within the industry rep Venture Surplus. There's probably about a half dozen of them, and the people that do rep them have a very good rapport. So it is a company that not only seems to be, from everything I could find, to be a very legitimate, well thought out company that you can actually get good quality stuff for not that much money, which is kind of what this channel is all about. But there's a bit of reputation laundering, let's say, where it also has this very front forwarding face of all of these YouTubers who also are very well respected, you know, for good reason, most of them, I would say. And again, so the product is quite good. So it's not necessarily my thing per se, but it is good prices on most things, not necessarily just the cheapest out there. Sometimes they have very interesting accessories, but you can get some products that are higher quality and not spend that much money. So, I mean, it's not necessarily my thing, but it is. Let's check out the rifle pouches real fast. Because, again, this stuff isn't like the newest, most high-speed style of equipment. And, I'm not into the bigger, bulkier packs, like chest rigs and whatnot, or even rucks or anything else like that. I do prefer a lot of my stuff a little bit more slimlined. So this stuff doesn't necessarily directly appeal to me personally, but it is high quality. The prices are good, so I don't have any problem putting it in the pretty good category, and that's probably because I am... Oh, sorry. I didn't even put it over there. That is probably because I am fairly biased towards the people that are actually repping the company. All right. Chris Swag says Venture Surplus is the #1 supplier of Eagle products. All right. Terribly Tactical says Lucas wears a woman's size 0. Cannot confirm, but if the shoe fits or if the pants fits in this. Yeah, lots of Lucas versus PSR stuff in the chat. That is kind of to be expected, which is really unfortunate. It really didn't have to be that way. But say lovey. HSB Snake says Venture single-handedly enables my US surplus addiction. Yeah, a lot of people love surplus gear. Not necessarily saying that it's like the best thing out there, but that it is definitely something that appeals to a certain group of people, let's say. And let me go back over here. We're good there. All right. All right. Now, moving on to Mantis. Mantis is, if you're not familiar, this was another big one that came out with a big YouTube/social media push. There was a lot of, I think actually GT still rocks these guys, but a lot of people rock with Mantis. Now, Mantis, if you're not familiar, is essentially a data-driven dry fire system. So it's basically an app plus some hardware that goes on your distance hole puncher, let's say. And so you can kind of get a lot better data on what is actually happening with your handgun. And they also have some, not necessarily just dry fire stuff, but what they call like cold fire, where you get some like real feedback in your firearms or whatnot, which is kind of cool as well. The thing that I don't necessarily like all that much is that the data that it compiles may be accurate, but it's not necessarily the most useful format for diagnosing issues. Telling you how much, pre-travel or pre-ignition force you're putting on the trigger or whatnot. Some of that stuff isn't really all that useful and can be kind of difficult to put into a more usable formula, let's say. So it is definitely data-driven. The stuff isn't too terribly expensive because, I mean, when you think about like 1,000 rounds of 9mm and the training, so let's say like $300 or something like that, you can get a pretty nice system for $300 and you can use that for years and years, not just, 2, 3, 4 range sessions. So I do even think there is some value here. You can argue whether or not it is absolutely needed. Most of us don't dry fire enough as it is, and I think dry firing, weapon manipulations, doing things like if you're practicing with night vision, you can simply just turn the light off in your room and get like quote unquote night vision reps. And so it's just being more familiar with whatever platform it is that you're using. So weapon manipulations, all that sort of stuff is really important to get reps on, not just, for me, it's easy enough to kind of slink back and not do as much dry fire as I should because I go shooting usually every week. Right? But if you're a guy who really only gets the opportunity, you work a normal job, you work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, plus then time with family, time doing other projects, maybe you only get to shoot once a month, once every 6 months, maybe once a year for a lot of people. So having something that you can just use in your bedroom when you're goofing around watching YouTube videos or way too long live streams, this might be a very valuable product to some people that can help bridge the gap between dry fire and of course, actual live fire that is quite expensive. Hey, Gary, your audio is a little bit. Oh, yep. Nope. Your audio is screwed up, bro. I just got to message him real fast, make sure he doesn't hop back in. Audio static. Don't join. Yeah, that's a little bit rough. That's a little bit rough. Yeah, let's make sure he gets out of there. Because yeah, I mean, nobody can't listen to that. That is difficult. All right. Yeah, I think he was actually in the back of his Jeep back from taking care of one of his goats, if I remember correctly. So he's doing important work. But back to Mantis, it's not the worst thing out there for sure. I think it is definitely in the acceptable category and can actually be a quite good product for some people. Again, for me, who this is my job, so I kind of have to do it, I probably don't need as much dry fire as the average person. However, I could still probably get some benefit from it if I actually put in the work, put in the time, did say 15 minutes to 30 minutes every day while I'm doing, whatever else is that I'm doing, because I also do watch a lot of YouTube as well. So if you can kind of incorporate it into your daily life, and again, it's, you can do it anywhere versus only doing it on a range in a very controlled environment. The numbers, Mason, the numbers. What do they mean? Yes, exactly. Yeah, there was something going on there. Something going on. Gary on dial-up, absolutely. Nick says, even though my Blackbeard has broken 3 times, I still recommend it. They'll get better at manufacturing it as time goes on. The trigger reset alone makes it worth the cash. Yeah, that's one of the nice things about it is, one, they will fix it for you. And again, it's kind of in a different category to firearms. So for instance, if your firearm breaks 3 times, that's a life-saving piece of equipment. So get rid of it is what I would say, right? Depending on what it is that's breaking. But if your training tool, that is a dedicated training tool, and that's the only thing that it does, if it has some issues every now and again, that will be fixed by the company, covered under their warranty. Not the biggest deal in the world. And yeah, having that tactile reset when you're doing it, so you don't have to sit there and just rack the gun every time or rack your handgun every time you're dry firing in the house, then it can be a really nice thing to have, especially if, again, ammo's very expensive. So if you want some sort of stopgap measure to maintain a low level of training, it's never going to replace a high level of training, but to be kind of an impromptu way to maintain your skill set or even improve your skill set in some ways, especially when it comes, again, to weapon manipulation, to transitioning from target to target, from drawing, all that sort of fun stuff. Dry fire is absolutely great for that. What it is not great for is, of course, recoil control. Even with the quote-unquote like cold fire systems, it still doesn't replicate real recoil. But again, I think it can be a good product for most people if you're willing to spend $300, $400, $500 to get the system that you want. Not all of the data is super necessary, but it can, if you use it properly, the data can be a useful indicator to see how you need to improve your training. So. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go dry fire. It's a pretty nice product, dry fire. Yeah, Nick says 100% agree. Their warranty is great. Their CR reps are friendly, and if it breaks again, no biggie, just send it back. Yeah, and again, it's not a life-saving piece of equipment. It is a training tool. So the standards are a little bit lower for a product like that. All right, so we put that firmly into the acceptable category. Honestly, that could probably be bumped up to pretty good, but I think we'll leave it in there for right now. Now here is wrong one. Where did it go? No, that is the right one. No, that's not. Maybe? Ammo squared. Where did I put you? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, wait, no, that is it. That is it. I'm just being silly. All right. Now, ammo squared. This is a very interesting one. I think I was offered something by them a long time ago, but it's been years since then. So I really haven't kept up with them whatsoever, but I did reach out to somebody who has, and that was, of course, GB Guns. Great dude, very knowledgeable, very intelligent in a different way than a lot of the gun community is. He actually is very articulate on a lot of things, and he has a very high journalistic standard, which I know can... When you say journalist in this group, you might get a few people that are like, well, nobody likes journalists, let's say. But for this, Ammo Squared, it is a interesting product that doesn't really appeal to me, but I think can work for some people. So Ammo Squared is essentially a ammo subscription service with some additional components to it. So what it is, let's say if you have your budget for, let's say, $20 a week, $40 a week, $50 a week, whatever it happens to be, you can then set your budget and then the ammo types that you want. Now, the ammo types that you want are broken down between, let's say, practice, which is like a ball round, match, self-defense. Of course, you have your different 12 gauge loads, and a bunch of other things. Let's see. If we go down to 223, we get 223 match, practice, and self-defense. Also, hunting as well. And you can get some specific brands in there, but a lot of it can be kind of mixed bag style stuff. Now, what it kind of acts like is every time you make a payment, you essentially put ammo into a crate. And when you reach a certain threshold that you personally set up, they will just ship it to you. So it's not like an Acre Gold subscription where if you stop halfway or whatnot, you don't get anything and you need to refund, and then you get a 20% fee on top of it or something like that. They actually will ship it to you as you want, basically. So you don't have to wait till you get a full ounce of gold or something like that. Now, very interestingly enough, what makes this a little bit different and kind of interesting for some people is that you can also trade your credits. So let's say in my account, I have $500 worth of 9mm and 5.56, but I just picked up a 6mm arc that I want to use. Right. And so actually I'm like, well, can I trade $100 of my 9mm credit to 6 arc and get about 75 rounds of 6 arc or something like that, whatever it ends up being, to kind of move that around. And they will do that for you. So you can actually take your credits and sell and trade them back, which is an interesting concept. So it's not like the stock market, but kind of, because you can buy and sell your ammo that you already have stored up. Now, they claim that they always have your ammo in stock. That's not like a bank where necessarily your money isn't actually there. They will actually ship you your ammo at any time. So it's, for some people, I think it can make sense. Now, of course, because it is a subscription model and there is a lot of work on their end to do all of this work for you, the prices are not the lowest on the internet, but they are, let's say, 10 to 15% higher per round. Obviously, it's going to vary from specific round to type, all of that sort of fun stuff. And of course, you don't get to pick exactly what type of ammo you want. Now, for me, who, again, I am in a very different position, I can buy whatever I want and shoot whatever I want, basically. So for me, I just buy it, right? Because for me, I just want to basically try one type of ammo that I know works and all of my stuff that I've had good results with, and that's all I want. If I buy, let's just say, for instance, I had $1,000 in my account and I wanted, okay, I'm taking all of this in 223/556, I might get 15 or 20 different types of ammo, which for what I do is not great. I don't like that. Now, for some people, you might want a ton of different varieties of ammo to test in different guns or whatnot. For me, I don't want to go from one mag to the next mag and have different ejection patterns because I went from a high pressured ammo to a low pressured ammo, all sorts of different stuff. So I would rather personally, because I have, via what I do, I can just go out and say buy 1,000 rounds of whatever I want at a time. That's what I prefer to do and know exactly what I'm getting. Now, you can basically replicate this without, minus the selling and trading your stuff back. You can kind of do that just by, again, throwing $20 in a cookie jar every week. And then after it reaches $100 or $200, $300, whatever that happens to be, go purchase your case of ammo, right? And you can do that on the individual level. But if you want to use them as a service or as a hedge against prices rising, because again, keep in mind, if you have $1,000 of 5.56 in ammo squared, when the price of 5.56/223 goes up, you don't magically lose more, as I understand it, but you can buy and sell at different rates. So there is some interesting stuff going on with ammo squared. It's not my thing, but I certainly don't think that it's the worst. Now, looking up some reviews for it, on their website, they had one pretty bad review, and it was because it was difficult because it is a subscription service. This gentleman, James, here on the left, had a difficult time canceling his account/order because, of course, there is a subscription fee, and then there is a little bit of markup in the ammo as well on top of your standard markup because they are doing a lot of the work for you, sourcing, all that sort of fun stuff. And so this gentleman had a hard time canceling his order. Looking around on other review sites for it and reading some of these articles, most people that have tried it are fairly positive. There are some drawbacks, again, just being the fact that it is a little bit more expensive and is absolutely not for everyone. So as far as for me, as far as I go, I would not personally use this service, again, because I just don't need it. I prefer to buy 1,000 rounds of one type of ammo at a time, and that's basically as well. Outside of some very niche calibers, I usually just buy 1,000 rounds at a time of whatever it is that I'm looking at. But for me, I probably wouldn't rep this company. Not because they've done anything egregious or anything, but just because it's not my thing. And if it's something I don't believe in, I'd rather not staple my name to it, staple my reputation to it. So it's an interesting concept, not for everybody, not for me. I would actually probably put it above TacPack, to be fair, because I think TacPack is kind of a worse service in general. Sorry, my son was trying to get in the door. All right. Terribly Tactical says, I don't trust ammo squared because I'm not good at math. Yeah, that's actually the main reason why I don't use it, is because I can't do the math, and so that's a little bit too much work for me. And like clockwork, the Great Loner says, journalists? Oh, exactly. It does have a negative connotation these days. Well, so Richard Cranium says, ammo squared seems like a scam. It's not a scam. You get your ammo. It's a subscription service with like side benefits, basically. It's not my thing, because again, I do just use Ammo Seek, and then I go and I see whoever has the specific type of ammo that I want at the lowest price, and then I buy it, right? That's what I do. I don't have any particular affiliation to any ammo company other than Callaway Ballistics, because they send me a lot of ammo, or not. Well, I should not complain. They send me a good amount of ammo that I put to good use. Nick says, Ammo Seek is goated. Absolutely. All right, now game night. I think that's game night. Missing a T at the end there, sir. For $4.99, thank you very much, sir. Says, instead of SDI for $15,000, get a shed, AK, Dremel, whiskey, grease, and a hammer for under $5K. Man, you can get a lot of all of those for $5,000. Now, actually, maybe I should have pulled this up. We're going to talk to other people about SDI, but actually, M26 lemonade grenade. I might have gotten that backwards. Either way, he actually has a video going over exactly what you need to make an AK, and it's not cheap. Like by make an AK, not like an AR where you're just assembling an AR. Actually making an AK, doing the rivets, doing all the pressing and whatnot, it's expensive. It's like $1,000, if not a little bit more than $1,000 for all the tools. But then you can actually make your own AK from AK parts kits. And again, you can basically look up YouTube or Rumble videos at this point and learn how to do that in your garage over the summer and have a way better time than spending $10,000 to $15,000 at SDI. And keep in mind, if you go to SDI to graduate, you have to take a bunch of other like generic classes, because that's the reason that they're accredited, is because you actually do get a degree at the end of it, right? Yeah, so GB Guns, he is here. Hello, sir. He says, it's been great for me. Having a variety of ammo is part of what I do. Yeah, so if you're not familiar, he does the What's for Dinner test, the patented What's for Dinner test, of course. And he puts 5 to 10 different types of ammunition through, especially handguns, because handguns can have issues with certain ogives, geometries, feed angles, and whatnot with certain ammunition types, especially like something like 10 millimeter, for instance, where you have, hollow points, flat nose, ball, die cast bullets as well. You have such a wide variety of bullets. Sometimes it is important to test what actually works in them. for me, again, if I'm shooting a Glock, it's basically 115 or 124 grain ball, unless I'm dipping into my stash of match ammo, my match 9mm. For 5.56, it's basically either all Callaway Ballistics or it's a Winchester or PMC X-Tac M193. That's most of what I shoot, and then I do some match loads as well for my rifles, just to see how they group with different ammos. But yeah, it's not part of what I do with a lot of my testing. But again, for some people, I think it works fine. For me, it's just not my type of thing. Nick says, if you can work on cars, you can build any gun, even an AK. It almost always comes down to having the correct tools. Yeah, of course, having the correct tools helps. AKs, I've never built an AK, so I'm totally not speaking from experience here. But from what I've seen, it's much more involved than just building an AR. Like, you can build an AR right the first time. From what I've heard, you need to attempt to build an AK several times before you actually build something that most people would consider acceptable. So because there is actually some more work that goes into an AK than just like, even with a car, like if I'm switching out the suspension on like, whatever car it happens to be that I have, it's like, unbolt the top, unbolt the control arms, rip it out, put the new one in. It's essentially disassembling and reassembling. With an AK, there is a little bit more handwork that is actually going in. Yeah, absolutely. GB Gun says ARs are assembled, AKs are crafted with the press fitting, etc. Yeah, like actual rivets, dimpling your rivets, doing all sorts of fun stuff to make the thing actually work. Because again, it does require more tools than just an AR, which essentially requires like some Allen keys and a wrench to put the barrel nut on. And that's about it. Obviously depending, some are a little bit more special than others, but in general, it is very simple. All right. Now, another one that we're going to take a look at is going to be my Patriot Supply. No, I don't want to enter your giveaway. Please don't put that on my screen. Now, if you're not familiar with my Patriot Supply, it is essentially another system in which you can buy all of your preparedness needs. Now, you can buy meal kits, you can buy electronics, you can buy package deals, all sorts of stuff. You will see this there are a few YouTubers, a few gun tubers specifically who are repping this sort of stuff because there is a big overlap between the gun community and the prepper community, which is not a bad thing by any means. If you're a gun person, you're prepared in one way, and then preppers are more of a, let's say, holistic approach to being prepared, not just for like some sort of social unrest, but for just about anything you could think of. So having food, water, medical, all of those sort of like long-term supplies, not a bad thing whatsoever. Now, the problem with my Patriot Supply specifically is that if you check their reviews and go to any like review aggregate website, it's pretty darn bad. So, I mean, if we skip the review portion, because the review portion isn't as important, go to the user reviews. There are a few positive ones as of late, or not as of late, but some of the newer ones are a little bit more positive. Maybe they've changed, or maybe they're just trying to boost themselves a little bit with some false reporting, let's say. But if you go down and you start reading some of these, it is pretty egregious as to what happened. We'll go ahead and read this guy from Robert Polsum from Florida. He says, they lied about their replacement insurance. I was hit directly from Hurricane Ian, and my home had a Cat 3 storm surge. Very gross and nasty fecal waste water. I was told that the insurance I got was no good and my food is fine. Sorry, nothing they can do. Such a lousy and unpatriotic resolution. Do not buy thinking you have insurance if things go wrong. You'll get the I'm so sorry, my management said your food is fine. So essentially you can buy, of course, insurance on your food in some sort of natural disaster. That's something that they offer. And if they don't honor it, well, you just kind of wasted your money on it. And I mean, there are quite a few one-star reviews on this. And this is just one website. There's a second website, which is Reviewopedia, which again, very similar in terms of just review aggregate. They also put in their own review on it, but it's not good. It's not good. So very bad, Johnson's very bad. And this is of January of this year. Do not buy this product, all crap, full of sugar, salt, and nothing ready to eat. Again, January this year, ordered some short-term emergency food from this company. They do not produce the MREs in-house. It is outsourced. Received mine, and while the website says they are good for up to 3 years, that doesn't mean up to 3 years from when you get them. Mine arrived already 1 year old, so it was already through 30% of its supposed shelf life, which is not fun, with a best date of only 2 years from now. I called customer service and was told I could send back, but the shipping would be deducted from my refund. So that's very important, because if you're shipping on a personal account versus a commercial account, if you bought a pallet of food, well, that could be several $100s very easily that you're not getting back, because of course what they sent you wasn't fresh, which is kind of the whole point of buying long-term storage food, is for it to be there for a long time. And if it's already through a third of its life, well, that's not great. Yeah, again, but you can just read a lot of these reviews, and it is deceptive advertising / fear-mongering. Not great reviews. So I'm going to put them a little bit lower down the list in the kind of scummy category. Not that preparedness is in any way a bad thing. Of course, you should be prepared. But it just seems like My Patriot Supply specifically, that kind of markets off of, let's say, fear porn, that markets off of... I don't want to say pushing narratives or whatnot, but kind of has that reputation of fear-mongering or whatnot, to not actually supply, patriots, which is kind of how their marketing implies, and then using gun tubers to push it as well, to not actually back the product in and have really good customer service. Again, when you're going to be using this food in some cases for up to like 10 years or so, not a good positive indicator to actually buy their stuff. And keep in mind that stored food is not particularly expensive. Now, a good channel to check out is Magic Prepper. He does a lot of this sort of content, and he'll give you much better recommendations. If you go to the Reddit for My Patriot Supply, which is also very negative, you'll see a lot of other recommendations for better things that are longer lasting, a better price, all sorts of just a better way to go than some. My Patriot Supply kind of feeds off of the naivety of their clientele by people who aren't in the prepper industry but feel like they should be prepped for an emergency, might hear about Patriot Supply through a ad by a gun tuber or somebody else, because I'm sure they have other people advertising their stuff as well, and then they rush out to buy it, not really realizing the full ramifications of what they need, what's good, what's bad, so on and so forth, because again, they're not in the industry. So it is a big responsibility to market that kind of stuff towards people. And if the company isn't doing a great job of selling the right products to the right people, it's something that I don't particularly like, which is why I am fine putting it in the kind of scummy category. All right. Andrew Vachon for $1.99 says, all of this effort to build an inferior weapon. Well, that is incredibly rude, sir, I'll have you know. It's true, but it is rude as well. Andrew Vachon again for $1.99, dropping them everywhere. Which did you hate more, the O-Sight or the L-Can? Absolutely. The L-Can is actually propping up my mic because my mic stand broke. I have another one in that should be here tomorrow. But the L-Can is actually right here, right off screen, propping up my mic. And the O-Sight is actually there too, funnily enough. I would say the O-Sight is undoubtedly worse, though the more I use the L-Can, the less I like it. Really short eye relief, really punishing eye box. The glass isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It's really heavy. It's also $2,000. Yeah, it's definitely not my favorite. Definitely not my favorite. Brian Isaacs for the $2. Thank you very much, sir. Says Lehman's Old Country Store is better. I'm not sure if that's a reference. I don't understand. Not sure. Game Night says the L-Can is the world's most expensive mic stand. That is absolutely correct. It is doing a great job. It's doing a very great job. It and the O-Sight are holding up this entire podcast / stream. HSB Snake says, I hear a lot of Patriot Supply ads on news radio. Funny enough. FM 93.1, KFBK, if anyone wondered. Interesting. Well, you are one of the 3 people still listening to radio, so you might be the perfect clientele for My Patriot Supply. Terribly Tactical says ACOG RMR supremacy. Kind of. I think the ACOG does the magnified thing a little bit better than the LCAN. It's a lot lighter, and you also have the ability to just mount a top-mounted red dot, which is the same thing I'm doing with the LCAN, right? So, and it's also $1,000 cheaper. It's interesting. So Nick says, I don't understand why the ACOG/LCAN are so expensive in 2024. Both of them would be so much better if they updated the reticles. It's madness. Yes, but you see, they have military contracts, right? They have no need to improve their product. None whatsoever. They have the money, right? I am sure there are very talented engineers there that have ideas to improve the product, but they're making a killing on them. I guarantee you they have refined their process to make the margins as lucrative as they can. They have the military contracts, they have the LEO contracts, they have a reputation spanning multiple decades at this point. There is very, very little motivation to change. The same thing, look at the Aimpoint T2. The Aimpoint T2 came out in what, 2014? 2012, something like that. It's been around for more than a decade at this point, and it's totally eclipsed by the newer competition, and it's beaten on price to performance. In a lot of cases, it's beaten on straight up performance, but it's a T2. Aimpoint has absolutely no intention of swapping it up or changing it out. Why would they, right? It's an Aimpoint T2. On the brand name alone, they can still sell those guys for $700 to $800. And Aimpoint hasn't made a good product since the T2. I don't think Aimpoint has made a single good product since the T2. Yeah. That's my hot take. Jeffrey Pogsworth says, so just get an ACOG plus piggyback over the LCAN. The LCAN does have some benefits. I mean, having a really good 1X with really good magnification, or really good illumination, that's the word, illumination that has actually a good battery life, can be an advantage in some circumstances. So with an LCAN, you essentially get 3 optics. You get a 1X prism and a 4X prism, and then you also get a top-mounted red dot, right, if you want to. With an ACOG, you only get the 1X or the 3.5 or the 4X, whatever ACOG mount or ACOG variant that you decide to go with. There are some advantages of an LCAN. I don't like the reduced usability and the additional weight and the additional cost. That would be my way to sum it up. No, I don't think I'm going to try that. I think you might shoot me. Andrew Vachon for $1.99. Thank you very much, sir. There's a reason I own 6 ACOG stacks and 1 LCAN. All right, don't super chat, but just let me know, what is your favorite ACOG stack? Because obviously I have your TA11, and I think the usability is really nice on it. The only thing I don't like about it is the field of view is a little bit reduced, which of course is the trade-off if you want that more usable eye relief and eye box. That's right. There is a model of the ACOG, somebody can probably tell me which one it is, that actually has the ACSS reticle with wind holds, right? It's like a BDC plus wind holds. So there is a actual like best ACOG variant. I think it's the 4X model that has that reticle, but it's only the 4X model and it's not in any of the other ones. But yeah, I do agree. That's one thing about Primary Arms is they have the SLX 1X, 3X, and 5X, and now the GLX, which I put up a video on gun.deals for the GLX 1X Prism. If they could just come out with really good glass 3 and 5X models, I think that would be legitimate competition with ACOGs, especially if they're in the same weight at about half the cost, and with really good built-in mounting options for red dots, whether that's top-mounted or offset. I think they could be exceptional competition for ACOGs. And again, if Trijicon doesn't improve because they've rested on their laurels for the last 20 years or so, you could see ACOGs go the way of the dinosaur. Not that they would be bad, but they would just be outclassed in terms of performance and especially cost of performance. The Great Loner says comp M4 versus T2. I do like big windowed optics. That's kind of why I gravitate to some of those style with bigger windows or whatnot. But how much are comp 4s? Comp 4s are probably about the same price as a T2, but I'm not sure if they came out at the same time. GB Gun says, haha, we were so excited to get the M68 before Afghanistan 2004, and then got there and realized we were better with irons at the distances we needed. That's interesting. So my brother was a Marine in 2002 through 2006, so he carried an M16A4, and I'm pretty sure his had an ACOG. So I'm not sure which one. I'd have to ask him which one it was, but he might have been in a similar boat to you, sir. Austin James for $4.99. Thank you very much, sir. He says, I love SDI. I tried to use my Army education benefit to pay for it, but never went, and they sent me a free student kit. Wait, so you ripped them off the other way around. You pulled the old Uno reverse on them. You ripped them off. So, Austin, you tried to use them, and did they just, your Army benefits, your GI Bill didn't go through or something? But I mean, hey, if you get a free student kit, that's actually funny. The most positive thing that I have heard about SDI is not the classes, it's not the training, it's the tools. That's it. It's the tools. And I think you also get a couple of guns, like you get an 80% lower and a couple other things. Excuse me, you get a couple other things as well. So maybe that's those are the two positives for spending somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000 on a subpar education. Sorry, my wife was sending me something, so I want to make sure it wasn't something important. No, she's just sending me memes on Instagram. Thanks. They're probably busy right now. Andrew Vachon says, I thought we would have summoned Brass Tacks by now. Did you respond? Did I not see it? I might not have seen it. Hey, John. Hey, how's it going, sir?
I've had better days.
Yeah,
Polio.
Working. What's that?
I said, did you know goats can get polio?
No, that sounds miserable.
It is. Oh, that is miserable. But here we are. I'm here. Sorry it took me so long.
Oh no, you're totally. We only have. Oh wait, no. I forgot to add one more on here. I was thinking we only had Olight left, but no. You arrived at the perfect time because it is actually the thumbnail. So let me see.
Oh my god, are you gonna bring up Arrowhead?
Arrowhead, that's right. That's right, sir. Because I keep seeing. There we go. I keep seeing their ads everywhere now. Every single place I go. I saw, what's his face? Executive Outcomes, right? That's the guy?
I saw. Let's see, Admin runs them now. Kalyan Noir runs them now.
On the thumbnail.
My boys down the road, Despop run them now.
Really? Okay. I was actually just talking to them. Let me see.
And they could not be a bigger piece of shit.
The actual clothing themselves. Why don't you talk about them? Why don't you talk about them for just a second? Oh, shoot.
So I have a vested interest in Arrowhead Tactical. I have a pair of their sweatpants that I got during COVID. Because I work from home now. So it's like, okay, I would like to be comfortable, and if I'm going to go out into metropolitan areas, especially in Washington State, I don't want to do it without a gun on me. So, I was like, okay, let's take a look at these things. They're expensive. They're $90. They're drop shipped straight from China. They're not even great quality. I was wearing them maybe 3 months before the stitching in the back end blew out. It's ridiculous. Hootsie Boy says, for the cost of the shorts, I don't see why you wouldn't just buy an Enigma. And honestly, that's probably a better idea, but I don't have any experience with the Enigmas either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but so I was just browsing on my computer. I was browsing on Instagram, and now I see their ads everywhere. Probably because I started talking about them, but now they are quite literally everywhere.
Honestly, when you had me come on the first time, my wife was like, you need to talk about how big of a trash pair of sweats those stupid $90 sweats was. And here we are. They're not great.
But they look so good. What happening with yours? Because these are pretty expensive. I mean, $110 for a pair of joggers, $90 on sale. Really cheap belt is $40, $50-$60 for a pair of shorts. Noir, of course.
The stitching isn't great. You're paying U.S. made prices for something dropshipped straight from China.
Right.
The shipping time isn't great. I mean, it's as close to a scam as you can possibly get while still receiving something. They are not a great product.
You do get a product at the end of the day. RGT is being mean here, man. He says that the co-host doesn't like them. They're probably actually phenomenal. Ouch, man. But Richard says, just say it. Your wife was right. You know what? She is frequently. So it does happen. Josh B says the Arrowhead CEO seems like a bit of a dork. I don't know anything about the CEO. I didn't look that deep into it, but this is just some Reddit posts from like 7 months ago, and they're talking about how right after you buy it, you get a international Yuan Express tracking number, which is super nice. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Nick says you can't trust anything I say because I think LaRue is better than Geisley. Well, I don't think LaRue is better than Geisley. I have data to back it up, and I'm not going to pull it up right now. So,
but I mean, Hop also thinks that LaRue is better than Geisley. So
are we going to call Hop wrong?
He might.
Who is back?
But anyways, Arrowhead Tactical, not particularly amazing. Still, I think it's overpriced. And it's obviously, it goes into
bad product.
Bad product. That's why we have that tier. But so it kind of goes into this thing where there's this reputation laundering where there are people who have a trusted name for whatever reason, and then they start repping these products. And drop shipping isn't the worst thing in the world, but again, it's like subpar product that's pretty overpriced. So I would definitely put that in the bad product category. Now, I am sure for some people out there, it works great. For me, I'm not interested in it whatsoever, and so I don't want to rep something, when there are other companies on this list that are quite a bit better, even something like Venture Surplus, where you're actually getting a really good product for a really good price, and it's not drop shipped from China. Or at least most of it is. All right. Last one to talk about. This is going to be a much shorter stream than usual, which is a good thing. Before we get into it, do you want to do the ad for Gunslaps?
Oh yeah, Gunslaps. Check out gunslaps.com. Use code FT10. It gives you 10% off, and it tracks people coming from the stream. Check out Gunslaps Instagram page. It's pretty based.
And he's importantly, he's very funny.
He's pretty funny.
You can get products from them, stickers, patches. You can get flags. Behind me, I have the Warlord, Neighborhood Warlord flag, which is pretty neat.
I have got, since I got my camera way closer, I've got some of their stuff from their monthly bots. Like it's Mr. Pepe right here.
There you go. Let me pull this over here. Everybody's favorite person in the chat right now, Mr. Lucas Botkin. This should be Short Kiss Butkin or something like that. That's this guy's name. But very, very funny stuff. Check out their Instagram. He's very funny. Use code FT10 to save yourself some money. Is it actually a discount code?
Yeah, it's 10%.
Okay. I actually need to talk to him more because you do all the talking to him. I don't think I've ever actually chatted with him.
Yeah, I've been talking to him for a couple of years. He used to make patches for a couple of subreddits, and then there was a falling out and whatever. Nobody uses Reddit anymore because that page got banned.
Well, he doesn't seem like the type of guy that would fit with the normal Reddit audience, let's say.
Yeah, there was a couple of places on there that were insanely based.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there was a while where they kind of went through and purged a lot of that stuff, so I'm not surprised he's no longer on there. Now, Multicam says, if I'm buying something Chinese, I want to know up front that I'm doing it. Yeah, especially if it's shipping from China, right? If you buy something and then you don't get it for like 3 or 4 weeks, bit of a downer. Now, of course, if that's not disclosed up front. All right. Tuck BV says, no patches, trying to quit. Yeah, understandable. Very understandable. All right, last one to talk about today, because we really just had a bunch of short ones on here. This is Olight. I think we could just basically put that straight away into the bad tier. Oh, shoot. I don't even have it on screen. How silly of me. That's the wrong one. There we go. All right. Sorry. So anyways, I put Olight right into the bad product. Now, I've done some reviews on Olight products. Some of the stuff is like mildly interesting. Now, the thing with Olight for me is every single one that I've used, and I think that's 3 or 4, either one of them, the pistol light shipped broken and did not work particularly well. And then the rifle lights that I used, every single one of the mounts. So the Odin Mini, and the Odin Turbo, all of those, the actual mounts themselves broke because they have these little cutie mounts that have tiny little screws, which break every time. So I have broken every single one of their rifle lights, and the one pistol light that I tried shipped me broken. Now, Nick asks the best question.
So Olight's S tier, right?
Well, fortunately, we don't have S tier on this. It goes straight into the bad product category. Now, Prison Mike says, Olight flashlights aren't bad. The tactical gun lights are ass. Yeah, I've not had good luck with literally any of the gun lights. And I've never tried any of the handheld lights. So, I mean, you might convince me that one of their EDC lights is fine. But EDC lights don't take the same abuse as a rifle that is, of course, under recoil, getting bounced around, has chances of being dropped. Like, if you just leave your EDC light in your pocket 99% of the time, probably not too big of a deal. But yeah, Terribly Tactical says Streamlight is viable. Streamlights work. That's why I use them, Streamlights work. Olight is the PSA of flashlight. That's good. All right, so that is about it. Nick says, UR1HL survived a fall that destroyed a Glock MOS mount. That light is strong. Good.
I frequently use my HL5X, which is like a big HLX. It takes 2 batteries, 2,000 lumens. I frequently use that as a hammer.
I don't think that's its intended purpose, but it probably works all right. All right, so I think we got to everything in this, so let's go ahead and go back here, because again, we have these ones that we already pulled up. They were just doubled up in the list themselves. So I think that just about does it. There are definitely ones to stay away from. USCCA, certainly not my favorite. Probably, well, it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do, so we put that in most likely a scam. Bad products, Arrowhead Tactical, and Olight. Sonoran Desert Institute, we got more on that coming up shortly. Kind of scummy. My Patriot Supply, also kind of scummy. And as most things do, it falls right into the acceptable category. We have Brown L's, which sponsors a lot of gun tubers. We have coffee companies. Coffee is a fine product unless you're a Mormon. Americana Pipe Dream, Mantis, Stopbox. Not my thing. I thought we would have put that in kind of scummy or a bad product, but somehow that made it into acceptable. Are you still going to be doing your thing with that?
So let's put it up to the chat. Let's see what you guys think. How would the chat feel if I, by myself, not John would not be in any way related to this at all, purchased some of these products and did reviews on them? I'm thinking what I can do. Start off with here is get one of these stop boxes, put $20 in it, and see if one of my kids can get into it.
Boom. I put a poll in the chat. We'll let that run as we're going through this. So, Attorneys on Retainer, which basically does the thing the USCCA is supposed to do, also unacceptable. Ammo Squared, acceptable. Definitely not for everybody, not for me. Tac Pack, the lowest tier of acceptable. Not my favorite thing whatsoever, because again, it's just a box of random stuff, and they're making some money on it, so it's just one of those things. CMMG also, I think it's a fine sponsorship. The one thing that I don't like is that people who are sponsored by them also do reviews for them, and there's some disclosure that's not always done. Not saying that's on CMMG. I would definitely blame the YouTubers more than the company. And of course, in Pretty Good, we have Gunslaps, Vortex, Venture Surplus, and Top Tier, because Gary's into 3D printing, is Aves.
Aves.
Aves. I'm American. That's Aves.
It's Aves. Whatever.
Whatever, man. You're all right. So, yeah, I think that just about does it. So it looks like you're going to do it because with 50 votes, it's at 78%. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. I guess I'm going to do it. I expect to see at least 50 people watching my stupid videos.
Oh, it'll be more than 50 for sure. But
okay.
We can actually get into it. I'm sure that could get you some views on that. So.
All right, cool.
All right, but what do we got coming up? So this next week we're going to try and do the SDI stream. So that's going to be next Wednesday, very tentatively next Wednesday. And then as for videos, I already have my next video up on cheap Engol clones, which you can kind of see right here on the Jokel behind me. We have a video on that coming out, and I'm sure a few others as well. Now, after the SDI stuff is over, I want to get M26 Lemon Grenade on here as well to talk about PSA, AKs, and all sorts of fun stuff. He can definitely go into more about actually building AKs. That's something that he's done quite a bit. I think that could be a fun one. But that is just about it for us tonight. Gary, do you have anything going on?
It sounds like I'm gonna be making a short video here, trying to get my kids into a stop box, and we'll go from there.
Them get into it. Don't actually put them in the stop box.
Oh, maybe.
Depends how much trouble they're being that day.
Oh, it depends on how easy they can get into it.
Yeah, that's also true. See if they can open it up in the first place. Yes, there is also a Clips channel, which is at Focus Clips 2. I think the title or the channel name is Out of Focus Clips, and Richard is the guy who runs that. So he just uploads clips as he sees fit. But with all of it out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and everybody watching this later, thank you very much as well. We will see you in the next one. Hope you all have a wonderful night. God bless.